Services Committee. We have now called order. I'll bow with me, please, for invocation. Our most high and merciful Lord, thank you for the blessings you bestow upon us every day, indications of your grace and your love for us. We thank you for the blessings of our first responders, the people who protect us, who keep our community safe in a place we can be proud to live in. As we have observed this Memorial Day, we thank you for all those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and we ask you to help us to match their measure and be citizens worthy of their sacrifice. Thank you again for the blessings, and please come dwell with us as we consider the matters before us, the welfare of our county. Amen.
And
Pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, republic for which God, liberty and
We have quorum, all three commissioners here. We have the meetings of the minutes of the previous meeting. Gentlemen had the opportunity
Move to accept.
second.
All right, so moved. We had an opportunity to look at the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections, Mr. Johnson?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. We will go to our debate agenda with new business. Who's up first, sir?
We have several contract renewals this morning for you. The first is for Brain Fuse, which is online tutoring vendor that we use at the libraries. Last year was the first year that we'd like to renew that rate of $12,000. That is year's proposed budget. Staff recommends approval.
Move to consent with a question.
Second.
How much usage do we get?
We had just over 1,000 that this year. It grew month by month as people started to learn about it, so I think
Was it our first year this past
first year doing it.
That's $1.20 a unit.
Well, you're quick today.
Doesn't get much better than that. Okay. Okay, any next item, sir?
Next item is a independent contract instructor for Alex Cooper for the library. Again, he does computer courses of all types. I believe we had about 600 people take advantage of that. Very popular, very wide range of topics. I'd like to renew that at $30 an hour.
I read that as Alice Cooper.
I did too. That made me flinch for a minute.
Different course.
Move to consent.
It's $30 an hour. Is that what we paid him last year?
That's what we paid him last year, correct?
Second.
All right, so moved. Next, sir.
The renewal of the agreement, Greater Clarks Hill Regional Library System with the new FY21 budget number, $171,091 goes to salary reimbursement, 5 positions, grant for subtech grant material.
Is your gentleman?
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved.
Renewal of the contract with Russell Loyd, Wildwood Park, Rangers Cottage, Sheriff's Deputy, patrols once around the park, comes in and once around the park when he goes out, and then he's also there. Issues as needed. It's worked really well.
Move to consent.
Second. We used to explain the arrangement. Just read your
Yeah,
digest.
so he pays $350 a month to live Rangers Cottage. Not really much to Ranger's Cottage, so probably pretty good.
It's a cottage.
It is.
Cottage is putting it nicely. Happy, and we're happy.
That having him on site is more valuable than
Right, it's having the car there.
rent we could possibly have.
I think I've already seconded it. I didn't second.
That's so moved. Next, sir.
Exhibition Center Caterer Agreement proposals, and got just one back from our current contract holder, Silver Palm, who we're very happy with. I'd like to recommend approval of the contract to them to remain at 10.25% of gross. I believe that came out to $16,000 or $17,000. Staff recommends approval.
Second, and it's surprised, because it seems like other people reached out to me and said they wanted to bid on our business.
I was a little shocked they were the only bidder.
I think it's just so sporadic. Probably scared folks off. It's not consistent business. Maybe, most weekends. Definitely not a 7-day-a-week operation. Oh,
They have a lot of other business. They do weddings
Oh, yeah, I just,
and all of this,
they,
so, yeah.
we promote the bid, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Advertise it,
absolutely.
yeah.
Advertise it, promote it. We have a list of vendors that we would send it out to, people that have signed up to be on our vendor list. In case something like this goes out, they get notification.
So moved.
Next is the agreement for the home delivered meals and the senior center in-house meals. Rate to remain $75 per meal. Total of $138,050. Staff recommends approval.
Moved consent.
second, and 50,000 meals, that's a heck of a job.
A great service. And
Fantastic.
the fact that they didn't change their cost is impressive to me.
If you go to these, to the center while these people are having meals, it's a great time for them to gather. It may be the only nutrition they get for that day. It's, does wonders for their health. And the director does try to seek out bargains where she can. Try to
75, $275 is a bargain. I don't think you can get a Happy Meal for that, can you?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
So moved.
Next item is for the renewal of the agreement with the CVB. Staff recommends approval.
What percent do they get of the,
40% of the hotel motel tax.
Ivy still the chairman?
Ivy is not still the chairman. Phyllis Swain.
No,
Salazar?
Phyllis Salazar.
Salazar, that'll need
Phyllis.
to be corrected.
Now Phyllis Swain.
Move to consent.
Salazar.
Second.
Probably need to update.
Thank you, sir. So moved. Next, sir.
Disc golf.
Golf, renewal of the contract with the International Disc Golf Association to operate the courses out at Wildwood Park.
Moved consent.
Second.
So moved.
Yeah, extension services. 4-H, that program. Stated numbers to reflect this year's budget, $135,280 salary reimbursement. Recommends approval.
Moved consent with a question.
Second.
How are the extension services functioning? Not how, but how well are they functioning with virus and the lack of communication, I guess, or disconnect with UGA?
Yeah, the 4-H portion of it is pretty much shut down hard. They're trying to do some online stuff. But Tripp in the extension, he's taking a lot of calls, doing a lot of consulting and things like that. He really hadn't slowed down at all with the 4-H. They're waiting for the schools to get back in session before they crank back up.
All right. So moved.
Donations to Animal Services, Paul Rabe, $200, Elizabeth Halter, $1,000, Dave Facey, $100, Savannah River Academy, $232.78, River Ridge Elementary, $977.72.
$1,000 from the elementary school? Wow.
Second.
So moved. Next, sir.
And finally, this is a request to purchase some needed equipment at parks. Evans Town Center Park has been in need of a little bit of a facelift as much as it's used lately. We have Pegasus net and big netting system. Hadn't had that up for a while. Purchased that for $36,000. Rope cube climber, similar feature, smaller, independent, over to the corner of the play area. Fencing out there is rough shape. Replace that with a stronger gauge. And then in addition to those, we have a impact project called Columbia County Move, which is our initiative to promote health and wellness. The division, one of the things we want to do is put RFID scanners each of the parks that have a walking track or some track component, letting people sign up to be a Columbia County Move member card, and every time they go walk or exercise at the park, we're trying to generate traffic out there. Then we'll give prizes and awards and special privileges to those who checked in the most, participated the most in that request purchase of those kiosks for $17,465.83 from Security. Total for all this is $74,863. Requesting funding out of the 11 to 16 recreation discretionary SPLOST funds.
Do you have that program working in any other parks or
No, we just,
beginning of it?
this is kicking it off. We have launched it online. We've gotten a lot of interest. Over 500 people have already signed up. So we're just waiting on cards, hardware.
Okay.
So it's generated a lot of positive excitement.
Just as an FYI, the funding source of this is the 11 to 16 SPLOST. We're trying to close out old SPLOST. We have some lingering items. We have some things in 11 to 16 that's still going to take a little while to be able to complete those projects. But we are finally down to one thing in the 6 to 10 SPLOST. I mean, it's just been hounding us forever and ever and ever. So we're to the point now we're able to close that out. So using these funds, it was kind of strategic to use these at this time. These are things that we needed, but we really need to close those funds out.
Understood. Move to consent and one other comment.
Second.
It's a little tangent. How is Blanchard Park coming? Reminds me, is it different?
It's actually coming well. John, you want to give us an update? I know the engineer has gone in and done all the road work piece as far as the design.
Yeah, the main design is done. To my understanding, we're going to move forward with that portion of it. Once we get that finalized, then we're going to go plug in remaining budget. We're going to go play features.
I think we're going to bid that in 2 bids.
Okay, fantastic.
Second. Already second.
Yeah, you did. Sir, I got an inquiry from someone with summer coming on. It reminds us, seems that when the little ones get on the playground equipment and it's hot, they're getting little parts cooked, okay? Is there, as we close this out, is there any room and consideration for landscape sun blocking or anything else like that? there are these screens that I have seen on Fort Gordon that do cover the playground equipment.
Yes, a lot of our newer ones have the shading over the top. Yes, that is something, take a look at.
I think the one that you got, Mr. Galius, was at Lonnie Morris. Was there inquiry about Lonnie Morris Park in Appling?
Yes, sir.
Or maybe Eubank Park up in Leah. I know that those two are two that we could take a look at. We can absolutely look at covering
And
those playgrounds.
Gateway just opened, so
Gateway should be good.
it also doesn't have that.
It doesn't have it at Gateway?
Not over the main,
Okay.
not over the main structure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have barren playgrounds with sheet metal slides. Now we have to give them a parasol?
Yeah,
Hopefully that sun's burning the corona off, too.
right. We
Well,
want 'em to
it's
get
not
hot.
quite as hot as a Harley pipe, but it is, it is uncomfortable. Thank you, sir. All right.
All right.
At Fire and Emergency Services?
Good morning. First item is a request to accept a donation from Larry and Michelle Ennis for $2,000 for Station 6 on Parkway. Dropped by and laid a check on the table and said, get the things that you need, and we appreciate what you do, and walked out. So we'd recommend accepting that and amending our budget, revenue line code and the expense line code for the 2000.
Move to consent with a thank you.
Second.
So moved, and thank you.
Next item is our final renewal on our uniform contract with Forms by John downtown, and it's for everything that we wear uniform-wise. Recommend final renewal.
Move to consent.
Second, is there a dollar volume?
40,000 annually. That's our budget. The last renewal is with Teresa Brown. She is a PSD trainer for public safety. So we bring her in for our officers to train on recognizing when first responders are struggling. And then in the event we were to be overwhelmed and our EAP couldn't handle, we can also bring her in to actually do counseling. So we'd recommend executing the second renewal with Teresa Brown.
Move to consent.
Second.
So moved. Thank you. Do you have anything else?
Just reports.
Okay. Mr. Driver, we have any legal matters? I love it. You're like the Maytag repairman of old.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. We'll go back to staff and emergency reports. Good for information.
So I have the year-to-date response, the month of April response, and our budget report. I would point out that on the annual report, we were in line to have about a 20% increase. The pandemic kicked in. It looks like we're down about 200 calls a month.
That was my question, how it affected.
Drastically. Over 500 normally a month, and I believe it's 315.
Notice you managed to leave your contingency alone. Congratulations. Gentlemen, have any other questions?
No question.
Do we have any public comments? We do have a commissioner candidate, Mr. Bob.
Morning,
Willis.
Bob.
Good morning, Bob. All right, nothing in executive session? All right, we'll adjourn this meeting at 8:49.
What do y'all want, 5 minutes? Let's go. 8:55. 6 minutes. Any chief, yes, sir. All right, I will go ahead and call the Development and Planning Services Committee to order for May 26, 2020. Having already dispensed with the invocation and pledge, records show we have a full quorum. Right into approval of previous meetings minutes of February 25th,
Move to accept.
Second?
and approval of the agenda. Are there any adjustments to this agenda before us?
Not to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing none, we will move straight through presentations and nothing on consent to debate agenda. And
Sir, for your consideration, Countywide Refuse Service Renewal Number 3. No change in contract price. It is for our refuse service. You see a list there of all the locations in the line. Recommend approval.
POC buildings sure do generate a lot of garbage. Move to consent.
Second?
was that an analogy, or did you mean that literally?
That financially, figuratively.
All right, so moved. Next.
Consideration of renewal for the contract with Davis Landscaping for our grounds maintenance. This will be the first renewal of the contract. Staff is recommend approval.
Move to consent?
This is landscaping for the buildings.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Second.
Moved.
Three is Janitorial Supply Renewal Number 3. Second renewal period does end this year, so our last renewal. We're looking to actually go out for bids this year, but got in our way, but putting this out for bid later on this year, early next year for a new contract for next year. But staff recommends approval.
Dollar amount?
We actually have this a set price, and so we actually buy as needed out of our budget, so we have our get exact number. Buy a lump as we need. We buy.
Negotiate a unit price in the contract.
Second?
Countywide Exterminating Renewal Number 2.
Move to consent?
Same price?
$27,000 for all of our buildings? Bad. So moved.
Three is Elevator Maintenance Renewal Number 2. This is with Otis Elevator. This one does change. It does increase based on labor rates for the mechanics, and also we just rebuilt the elevator in the Appling Courthouse, and it's all new fancy equipment. Therefore, the materials required to maintain that over a $2,000 increase in cost, and staff.
Move to consent. I think they're about the only game in town.
I was going to say, are there even any?
There's out there, then there's another one, but we have our best results.
Yeah, it's a thin population.
Second?
Moved. Sir.
All right, first item we have for your consideration is alcohol and beverage license for Dharti, 1982 LLC, doing business as Andy Liquor Store. Atul Patel has has provided all of the required information and posted the site. They are asking for a waiver to the Columbia County Code Section 6-56, automatic forfeiture of the non-use, states that if they don't go with start business within 60 days from the certificate of completion or 180 days from the award of the contract, that the architect believes it's going to take about 270 days to build out this project. So they would like an additional, like I said, additional time to reach that 270 days from the start of the build out in order for them to start business.
Why didn't they just wait to bring it up? Can't we just
I
keep
think
simmering for a day?
I think the
for a
issue is he's going to build a building, and if he doesn't get the alcohol license, he's not going to build the building. It's going to be a freestanding building.
Okay.
So and that's all it's for. So he's going to have to get the license to know he can do it, and then he'll build the building. But it's going to take a while to build the building. If he builds it and then you deny his alcohol license, then he built it for nothing.
Right. Right, right across from, actually, the Discount Tire. Staff recommends approval of the variance to the section 6-56 at the June Board of Commission meeting.
Move to debate. That has to go to debate, right?
because of the
No, it
variance?
I don't believe it has to go to debate, but it's probably not a bad idea with what you're asking. But that's certainly, up to your pleasure.
Move to consent.
Yes, that property has undergone several attempts to try to do something with it. It's a difficult parcel, so yeah. Debate is probably.
So you're seconding for debate, because we have,
I actually
Motion.
changed it to, I withdrew my debate and
Oh, you withdrew your debate to the nine. Second, moving to consent.
so we have 2 for consent.
Yes.
And of course, anybody can pull that off of consent if you decide you want to do that.
Sure. That's always an option, so we will, so moved, and we will move forward. Is that all on the agenda today? See nothing else. Any legal matters, Mr. Driver? Yeah. That tease. Staff reports, planning services.
That's for your information. April 20th, planning department workload.
Questions from you gentlemen on the reports? Development services.
Right, and, first one we have for you is Development Services, the April 2019-2020 comparison. A copy of that report there for your information. No further action is required. I would like to state that then during the shutdown, things did appear to step up. We have 20 permits that are actually inspections. We had 2,000 permits we had done during that time, just in the month of April alone. And like I said, our monthly average last year was 1,783. Even though it was shut down, it was quite busy over here. The next report we have.
Oh, sir, before you,
Okay.
commendations and thanks to all your people for working long hours and keeping that process going. I appreciate it.
I think they did a wonderful job, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Next one we have is Development Service Financial Report, and a copy of that report is there for your review. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take those. No further action required on that.
Comments or questions? I just piggybacking on what Mr. Gailey has said, we have had people ask us, how did we move forward when the government was shut down, and how did these things happen? Well, the government wasn't shut down. We had some people working from home, and a lot of your people were in the field, and for anyone that that wonders how that happened, we never stopped working.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all the work that they did.
Really appreciate it. I'll pass it along. All right, the last one we have is the May report on the temporary alcohol permits that were issued. There were 2 events that were canceled due to the COVID, but the rest of those are there for your review. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take those.
Questions? None. That, any commissioner or public comments?
Bob,
Bob, you are the public.
John left, so that makes you.
Being nothing in executive session, I guess it is time for adjournment at 9:03. We stand adjourned.
Sure.